Ahoy, everyone. Wyatt Claypool here, back on the whiteboard one final time for the Calgary mayoral race. I lied. The last video was not my last polling video. This one is going to be, and this one is more interesting than the previous one. So, the previous poll I put out was the Janet Brown poll that was 27% Jeromy Farkas, 23% Sonya Sharp, and 23% Jyoti Gondek, and then you had like Davison at 16 and Thiessen at 8. But I want to update you guys on an internal number that Sonya Sharp's campaign has right now on where the race currently sits right before election day. This, what I'm about to show you, basically means it's a turnout election. If you live in Calgary and you don't want a woke progressive as mayor, go out and vote for Sonya Sharp. I am just openly in favor of her campaign because she actually has good policies. Jeromy Farkas, the old one, somehow died in a car crash we didn't hear about, and now we have this crazy, bizarro, woke version of him. That's awful. And of course, the current mayor, Jyoti Gondek, is still awful. So right now, we have in the new poll from that they just released internally, we have Farkas, Gondek, and Sharp pretty close in the polls. How close do we have these people? Well, right now, we have Jeromy Farkas sitting at 25%. And then we have Gondek at, drumroll everyone, 25%. And three guesses what Sonya Sharp is currently at. Sonya Sharp is at 25%. This is actually how the race is ending. I'm not sure who's doing their internal polling. Maybe it's Mark Henry with Think HQ because he's kind of associated with them. But I don't think he actually does as much day-to-day work as people think. They may have also used another firm. These are very realistic numbers based on every poll that's come out, based on the Janet Brown poll, who is the best pollster in the entire country. This is a pretty realistic way for this whole race to finish. And then you also had to fill in the blanks here. Brian Thiessen had about 15% or so, and then you had Jeff Davison at 10%, which means that he's fallen down into last place according to the internal Sharp numbers. That's not like, oh well, he's being put into last place in her internal numbers to make him look bad. He was already losing. It just depended on if he's coming in fourth place or fifth place. Jeff Davison's team does not have any organization. Yesterday, they just blew a bunch of money at McMahon Stadium having some drones display vote Davison in the air. Neat? Yes. Objectively neat. Is that going to win him any votes? Probably not. It was probably a big waste of money. And right now, you have Jeff Davison pretending to be conservative despite having as woke left of a voting record as Jyoti Gondek from when he was a counselor between 2017 and 2021. Literally voted to defund the police, literally voted against every single cost savings measure, voted for every tax increase. That was Jeff Davison. And for some reason, his team, despite knowing he is at or around 10%, even if we are to be generous, and go back to the Janet Brown poll, the most accurate pollster in Canada, saying he's at 16. I kind of doubt it though, because Brian Thiessen, she said he was at 8. I can see a lot of people not knowing who Brian Thiessen is, but Brian Thiessen is going to do better on turnout because municipal elections tend to be lower turnout elections. He'll do better simply because he has the Calgary party in every single ward promoting him, whereas Jeff Davison kind of has the ABC party promoting him, but like the thing is that the ABC candidates are probably not going to win anywhere, whereas a Calgary party candidate conceivably will win in a few of the wards, so then it will push up Thiessen's numbers. But even if I was to pretend Jeff Davison has that 16, how is he going to win? You think he's going to double his support in the last week of the campaign? He is not. The election is actually tomorrow, and I don't think that vote Davison in the air with drones is going to turn it around. And the thing is, I've had a lot of people beforehand saying, not a lot, I think the vast majority of people are planning on voting for Sonya Sharp, but yet people saying, well, Farkas in the Janet Brown poll is at 27 and Sonya's at 23 and Gondek's at 23. Well, if we want to keep Gondek out, we have to vote for Farkas. It's like, okay, if I just color Gondek, like the branding of her campaign from pink to slightly bluish for Jeromy, does it make it better? No? Oh, okay, so voting for somebody who is just doing the same thing as Gondek doesn't make the city better. Do not do that. It's stupid logic. Well, I want Gondek out. Okay, well, were you happy when Gondek got in because it wasn't Nenshi before? Or did you recognize at the time this is basically Nenshi again? Okay, guys, she's basically Nenshi again. We can just put the big N next to Gondek's name, and we can put another N next to Farkas's name. We have two Nenshis here. But getting back to the race dynamics, again, please vote for Sonya Sharp. Check out my endorsement list for the rest of the campaign. I'll even bring it up on screen a little bit later so you guys can see all my endorsements. I actually did add somebody for Ward 5 and 8 school board. So thank you for somebody for notifying me of a good candidate for school board in that area. I actually heard that they're like pro Sonya, so that's helpful. But this election is just going to be turnout. That's it. And again, Sonya, I've had people nitpick her to death, and it's really obnoxious. Like at the debate, they're like, "Oh my goodness, Davison said he's in favor of a 4-year tax freeze, and Sonya Sharp criticized him. It's like she's not a conservative." Okay, the whole point is that Davison's lying about being in favor of a 4-year tax freeze because previously he voted in favor of every tax increase that came in front of him when he was a counselor between 2017 and 2021. And literally 2 minutes after she said that the tax freeze rhetoric from him is silly, she said that she wanted to lower taxes by cutting wasteful spending and reducing the size of administration. Now, that may not mean that she can reduce taxes in the first year or even the second year, but at the very least, she's the only one actually vocalizing she's just going to cut. Everyone else is like, we need to find efficiencies. That is the most generic language I've ever heard in my life. If you say cut, I believe you. Honestly, the winning campaign is whoever's just going to promise to rip the stupid blue ring out of the ground because that would be awesome. But overall, Sonya's the only person saying that she'll actually cut taxes. She's the only person saying that she'll actually put a number of police officers on streets. She says 500, even if she just put up 300. Perfect. Pretty much nobody else will actually name an amount of police officers. They just like naysayers say, you can't police your way out of a drug crisis. You actually can. Have you ever seen El Salvador? Have you ever seen other countries? You can police yourself out of a lot of stuff. You just have to make sure people actually start going to involuntary treatment for drug issues. But she's got that going, reducing the size of administration, putting more police officers on the streets, and then attempting to lower taxes and all that stuff. I have ended the debate on, well, is she conservative enough? Well, the other guy that people are saying is more conservative is going to lose. One, he's lying. He was not conservative when he was on council, and he's just doing an about face because it's the only way to make himself relevant. Okay, you can vote for the about face guy. He's at 10, and let's even be generous and say, oh, maybe the 16% number was right and he gained 2 since then. He's at 18 now, guys. He's not winning. He does not have a big team. And that is actually where Sharp has a big advantage. Farkas does not actually have a team. And by the way, Farkas has been donating to some of the most left-wing council candidates in some of the wards who apparently he's friends with, like Nathan Schmidt or Nathaniel Schmidt. You have Andrew Ewell, and then you also have, I think, Harrison Clark in Ward 9. All these people in different wards, Ward 8, Ward 7, Ward 9. They're all very, very left-wing. And that's who Farkas is donating to. And you'll still say to people, oh, he was good on council. Well, he's not anymore. I take the person's council record into account if they stand by their council record. The man doesn't even stand by his own council record anymore. So you can no longer use that as a measuring stick. He just became friends with Nenshi after the election. His brain broke because he lost to Gondek last time. And now he is like attempting to be like Gondek, thinking that's the path to victory. It's really weak. So on this, I think that Farkas has his positive is name recognition. He's got the name recognition, a lot of people who know who Farkas is. Problem is that's also something that Gondek has going for her, but at the same time, her big negative is that she is hated. Farkas isn't really hated. There's certain conservatives who hate him because of the kind of betrayal they feel, but I would say right now his negative is no team around him. Even Gondek, despite not running with a party, she has Calgary's future on her side, a really big progressive pack. At the same time, many Calgary's future has also endorsed many Calgary party candidates who are pumping up Thiessen. So I think Thiessen's actually going to be doing better, and that unlike last time, she's not going to be soaking up all of those Calgary future endorsement like votes because people don't like her. Even if you're a progressive, you kind of have to acknowledge she didn't do a very good job. On with Sharp, she actually has the bigger team for positive stuff. I know that her people know who she is, but I mean, like, there's a difference between people knowing your name and the name recognition that you gain from being involved for like 8, 12 years, like Gondek or Farkas have been, or 8 years or so. So they were involved for so long that their name recognition is like a really big, solid thing. She has the bigger team. And then I would also say she has endorsements going for her. Not just me, guys. I'm not the biggest endorsement in the world in terms of people knowing who I am. People may watch the show and like my opinion, but there's a difference between that and like federal conservative MPs endorsing you, which becomes like a big newspaper headline. Ain't nobody writing a newspaper headline about what Wyatt's doing. Sadly, I guess, or actually probably a good thing. I would say that Sharp's thing is a little bit more unknown. Again, people know who she is, and I think they know she's in the running, but naturally, because you are the what I say upstart candidate, you didn't run last time. You haven't been a face in previous elections than just running for council. So at least compared to these two people, a little bit more of an unknown, but still polling the same. So I would say this is the big thing that's going on here is that for turnout on election day tomorrow, yes, Farkas may be a default because people recognize the name. That also goes for Gondek. Problem for her is that she's hated. Problem for Farkas is that he has no team actually pushing out his vote in the same way that Gondek and Sharp do. Yes, he'll have a big team, but he has to recreate a GOTV, a Get Out the Vote campaign in every single ward if he wants to actually hit up every single ward. Whereas Sharp effectively has people helping her in pretty much every ward, and then her campaign can just cover the areas that they don't have council candidates promoting her as well. So it gives her a lot more push tomorrow. So yeah, but her issue is that she may be considered the person that less people know about, and that they'll just default to someone like Farkas. I don't think that's going to happen this time, but it's always the possibility. And I think that the federal conservative endorsements and other provincial conservative endorsements are going to help her a lot in making sure that people kind of funnel into voting for an actual conservative this time rather than splitting up their votes between a bunch of also ran conservative candidates. I don't believe splitting the vote is a real thing. You can end splitting the vote as a mayoral candidate by just being bigger than everyone else. Just don't vote for Jeff Davison. He's not going to win, guys. It's just not going to happen. I'm sorry. If you really loved the guy and you believed him for some reason, it ain't happening. Anyways, now I just want to quickly bring you guys through my current list of endorsements. I'll read them off for you guys. I have also Airdrie Cochrane, Red Deer, and Medicine Hat and Edmonton mayors. If you're in Medicine Hat, definitely vote for Drew Barnes. He's fantastic. The other ones you guys will have to go check out. Drew Barnes is my friend, so he gets the special treatment as a non-Calgary candidate for me to read him. So for mayor, Sonya Sharp is the best choice. Council, Kim Tyers. Ward 2, Jennifer Waness. Ward 3, Christy Edwards. Ward 4, Jeremy Wong. Ward 5, Harneet Ushiana. I had to swap out someone else for Harneet. She looks good. The other guy was a little crazy when I looked into his background, but she has a really good platform as well. Ward 6, Joanne Burse. That's actually where I live. Oh, and by the way, little note on Joanne Burse running in Ward 6. Her main opponent is John Pantazopoulos. The guy has been running around presenting himself as a businessman. He's in solar and wind, guys. This isn't an oil and gas guy from downtown who's running to represent his community. He is a solar and wind green energy guy. And then his campaign manager is literally the NDP the NDP constituency president for Calgary Elbow. I'm not kidding. I didn't bring the screenshots here, but I can guarantee you it's real. I was looking at them yesterday. They're saved to my phone. It's the same guy. I'll even just read it so you know I'm not lying, and you can go look it up yourself. The man's name is Brian Wiesmiller, and we have a photo of Rachel Notley thanking him at some sort of breakfast. John Pantazopoulos is just another Trojan horse guy like Pootmans was last time if you're in Ward 6. So please vote for Joanne Burse. She's great. I'm very friendly with her. Ward 7, vote for Terry Wong. Ward 8, Cornelia Wiebe, who's in an absolute bloodbath of a campaign right now. That vote is going to split like 5 different ways, and she has a real chance to win a downtown riding as a conservative, and she's a good conservative. Ward 9, Gargar, very good with the police. He's a fantastic police candidate. He's not like a police officer, but he works with the police. Very pro cop guy, wants to bring bike patrols back to places like Forest Lawn. Ward 10, Andre Chabot. Ward 11, Rob Ward. Ward 12, Shane Bisick. Ward 13, Dan McLean. Ward 14, Landon Johnston. And for school board, we'll go through this quickly. Wards 1 and 2 school board for public is Cindy Dubray. Ward 3 and 4 is Joni Liu. Ward 6 and 7 is Jennifer Stewart. She's fantastic. I went door knocking with her very briefly for a bit. I didn't have a lot of time. Ward 8 and 9, Olga Knight. Ward 5 and 10, Mandeep Manhas. Ward 11 and 13, Tyson Ario. Ward 12 and 14, Dar Zook. And for Catholic School Board, I only have 2 endorsements for a couple of the wards. It's 6 and 8, it's Valerie Dove. And in 12 and 13, it's Steve Chapman. Okay. Hopefully, and if you guys need to see that list, I will have it pinned at the top of the comments in the description below if you want to go look at it in detail or share it with your friends. I invite you, if you're in Calgary, to share the list so that people know who's actually conservative. Anyways, so that should be it for me today, guys. I will see you guys all later. I probably won't do a stream about the election. I'm literally about to fly to Victoria right now, and I need to film a video right before I got on the plane effectively. Anyways, so that's it. See you guys later.